In their red and black striped away kits this evening, the black shorts and black socks, and Brighton, of course, in their blue and white striped shirts, white shorts, white socks. And City, with Ortega still in possession, are going from right to left as I look at things in this evening. Stones has to go and chase one to keep it in play, just about manages to, plays it over the top. It's won back quite comfortably by Brighton, and Van Hecker from the halfway line decides to go all the way back to his goalkeeper Jason Steele. Just taking a couple of touches up to the edge of his own area before playing the ball long and looking for the run of Kairo Mitoma, but it's easily cut out by Kyle Walker. Heavy touch by Walker then, and Mitoma trying to put him under pressure, just catches him. This can be a... and in fact, the referee believes that Walker was the guilty man there. To me, that didn't look like the case at all. Walker was in possession. Mitoma stepped across him. But according to the referee, it was Walker who caught the Japanese winger. So Pascal Gross will have a chance to float one into the area for Brighton, about 40 yards out. Just onto the right-hand side as Brighton are attacking. Walker had come right over from the opposite wing, keeping the ball under his control. Pascal Gross trying to pick out a man on the edge of the Manchester City area. Over it comes now. First head on it is a black and red shirt, and then it falls to Bernardo Silva, who's able to tidy up. He lays it off to Walker, who thumps it forward up to the halfway line and picks out the chest of Erling Haaland. He tips it down to De Bruyne. De Bruyne it to Lewis. Lewis finds Foden, but with his back to goal has to retreat. To Rodri. Silva and Gundogan now combining, still inside the Man City half. Forward to De Bruyne, and then he's caught by Van Hecker, but in fact the referee decides it's just going to be a throw-in. Pep Guardiola on the sidelines. He's had a lot of praise for his opposite number. Opposite number's not quite the right word, but you know what I mean. Roberto De Zerbi. Saying that what he's producing at Brighton is similar to what Michelin star restaurants produce. Excellent quality and very unique. That was, I think, the metaphor he was trying to go for. 3.5 minutes gone. You're listening to Flash Scores audio coverage of Brighton Hove Albion against Manchester City in the Premier League, where it is 0-0 and we're awaiting our first chance of the game. Rico Lewis draws a foul. And he thought he'd drawn a foul, so did I, but in fact it was a throw-in about a couple of yards inside his own half. He decides to throw it back to Rodri rather than kick it back, which is what he did 10 seconds earlier. Again now with Ortega. Ortega short to Stones, who seems to be in his more orthodox centre-back position rather than the midfield role he's been occupying of late. Goes forward to Mahrez. Mahrez cuts infield and back pretty much to the halfway line. Short pass then to Gundogan, who charges forward a few yards before he in turn plays it back to Rodri. Infield to Rico Lewis. Lewis finds De Bruyne on the right-hand side. On the wing is Kyle Walker on the overlap. Gets his head up and puts the cross over, but it's picked up by Foden. In fact, it wasn't too overhit. Back to Bernardo Silva. Foden's in there. Haaland's in there. Haaland falls over as he tries to go for the half volley, but misses it. And Brighton with Buonanotte able to clear, but they surrender possession pretty quickly again. City win it back inside the Brighton half. Lewis goes back. Rodri now. Rodri forward to Gundogan. Gundogan through the middle. Picks out Bernardo Silva on the left-hand side. Cuts it back to Gundogan. Then Lewis. Back out to Bernardo Silva now. Infield is Phil Foden. He turns all the way around Buonanotte and into the area. Still going Phil Foden. Drives it across. Haaland's there, and Haaland just heads it over the top. Erling Haaland with his first opportunity of the game. Excellent work there by Phil Foden on the left-hand side. Picked the ball up a few yards outside the area and fairly wide out on the left-hand side. And he gave a couple of Brighton defenders the runaround, quite literally speaking. Got to the byline, put the cross over. And at the back post was Erling Haaland, and it looked like he just had to get over the top of it, but he didn't. Sometimes there is a question mark over his heading ability, and he showed there exactly why people do tend to see it as the weaker part of his game. So he had time, he had space. I think he just mistimed it a little bit, the header, and it only went probably less than a yard over the bar in truth. But he probably should have been doing better there. I'm being generous with the probably. We're into the 7th minute of the match at the Amex. It's Brighton 0, City 0. Ortega straight through the middle to Haaland. He fends off a couple of challenges and eventually the ball ricochets out to Riyad Mahrez. It's found itself back with Kyle Walker now. De Bruyne. A loose one from him back to Rodri, but he's able to scamper back and pick up. Short pass to Ortega. Ortega was almost charged down there by Enciso in the end, but City able to work something up to the halfway line now with Rico Lewis out wide to Phil Foden on the left wing. Foden running infield. Now to Haaland. He can't gather there at his stride. Still a lot of pressure. And Van Hecke did so well there under a lot of pressure to turn away from Haaland and Mahrez and just play the ball out comfortably. Excellent work there by the Dutch former under-21 international. Getting a rare start this evening. Just his 3rd in the Premier League and just his 7th Premier League appearance in total. And I'm sure he's delighted to be starting a Premier League game, but I imagine he would have rather Erling Haaland was rested for this one. But he's stood his ground so far, but in fact he has conceded a free kick. Ball just played against his outstretched hand there. And City have got on with the free kick, which they won just inside the Brighton half. Gundogan, he's been dispossessed very nicely by Mitoma. Into Buonanotte back to Mitoma. And they combine again, 20 yards out. Lovely ball out to Welbeck with the shot, and excellent covering there. Phil Foden getting back. And Danny Welbeck, I think he had almost too much time there. Set himself, didn't catch the shot particularly well. Phil Foden able to get the covering challenge in, and I would have fancied Danny Welbeck to have beaten Ortega from probably less than 12 yards out on the right hand side of the area, shooting across with his right foot, kept it low. Excellent coverage there by Phil Foden, but the chance was created. Excellent work. The 1-2s between Buonanotte and Mitoma combining really nicely, and the ball then from Buonanotte to pick out Welbeck was superbly timed. Over comes the corner from Gross. Headed away. Out as far as Moises Caicedo. Estupinian. Crosses to the far post where he picks out Pascal Gross, but he tries to volley it into the danger area and doesn't catch it as he would have liked. And City able to regain possession. Triangles between Henry, Foden and Rodri. Oh, and City get a bit too casual, and his chance has fallen to Billy Gilmour and his shot. Again, it just deflects up kindly for Ortega, and Phil Foden a little bit lackadaisical. They may have the title sewed up, Man City, but Pep Guardiola won't be happy with the sloppiness from his team there. Almost presented a chance, Phil Foden. Straight to Billy Gilmour, whose shot at the edge, from the edge of the area wasn't caught particularly cleanly, and City get away with another one there. But 2 real wake-up calls for the champions as we hit the 10-minute mark. You're listening to Flash Scores audio coverage of tonight's Premier League fixture. It's Brighton and Hove Albion against Manchester City. I haven't introduced myself. I'm your commentator, Anthony Thomas, who's taking you through tonight's action. Kyle Walker plays the ball back to Ortega, who's a good 15 yards or so out of his goal. Not being put under too much pressure by Enciso. Picks out De Bruyne on the right wing. He's tracked by Mitoma. Ball's back now with John Stones. Short pass forward to Ilkay Gundogan, midway inside his own half. Tries to just play an aimless ball forward, and he gets the foul there. It was Caicedo, the guilty party. He was just a bit late there with the challenge. Just seeing a replay of that chance with Billy Gilmour, and it was Phil Foden was trying to play a ball infield with the outside of his boot as he kind of faked to turn away and make a run, but he just played the ball that was supposed to go to Gundogan straight to the Brighton attackers. And and a bit of a slip there from Ortega. Almost presented the ball to the edge of the area to Enciso, who's coming to charge him down. And that's another little bit of sloppiness from City. And apparently they did go out painting the town red, or painting the town sky blue, to turn a phrase. And Pep Guardiola was wondering how alert they would be for tonight's game. Let's just put it that way. And the signs are that they may have had one or two too many at the weekend. But maybe things are going to start clicking into gear now, because Bernardo Silva's picked out Phil Foden on the left-hand side. Foden back to Silva, who continued his run. Infield to Lewis. Now De Bruyne, 25 yards out. Out wide to Bernardo Silva. Right on the touchline. Back 15 yards or so to De Bruyne. With the cross. It's blocked. Forced currently for City though. And Gundogan heads it back to Rodri. Now Kyle Walker being pressured a little bit by Mitoma, but able to pick out a simple pass back to John Stones. Rodri was down in the team sheets as being playing in midfield with Rico Lewis part of the back three, but he seems to be vice versa. Rico Lewis definitely the more advanced, and Rodri on the ball now, shaping up as part of the back three. He plays the ball to Bernardo Silva. Silva back to Gundogan, a little bit of a hospital pass. He had to get that one right because Caicedo was ready to feed on any scraps, and they're putting him under pressure again, and Ortega almost got caught out once more. Caicedo again putting Gundogan under pressure, who played an awful ball back to his goalkeeper really, and Caicedo, not for the first time, almost stole the ball high up the pitch, and in fact there could be a potential shout for a penalty here. Did Ortega catch Caicedo there? He did get contact on the ball first, but it's a question a little bit of the follow through. Of course, you have to be in control of your movements. It's all very well getting the first touch of the ball, but if you then continue to slide and catch an opponent, that is a foul. But may have got away with this one. In the meantime, there's a Brighton player down. It's Buonanotte, making a rare appearance. This is fifth from the start, I should say, in the Premier League. Oh, that's why. It was that De Bruyne cross that was blocked. It was blocked by the face of Buonanotte, who was only a few yards away from it. Caught it full in the face. He should be okay to carry on, but just going through all the concussion protocol, of course. He's off the field now and should be okay to continue. Roberto De Zerbi is just checking that, and already Buonanotte is receiving the signal from our referee Simon Hooper. City again inviting plenty of Brighton pressure inside their own area. Rodri plays it right along the over the penalty spot to John Stones. He finds Kyle Walker now, and now he's being put under pressure by Mitoma. Finds Stones, and Stones eventually just has to thump one clear up to the halfway line. Levi Colwill is having a bit of a wrestling match with Erling Haaland there. And Brighton win possession, and down goes Billy Gilmour. And that prevented him. It was off the ball. In fact, it's not Billy Gilmour. My apologies, it's Enciso who was fouled. He played the ball forward to Welbeck, and Welbeck tried to lay it back off to him, but his run, and Cisso's run that is, was halted by Rodri pretty firmly, and it's going to be a free kick for Brighton. A good 25 yards from goal. We're just about to hit the 16-minute mark, possibly a bit further, closer to 30 yards out in fact. It's a long way out, but it could just about be in Pascal Gross's range. Gross, who has scored 9 goals in the Premier League this term. As I said, about 30 yards out, just wide of Ortega's right-hand post. City keeping their offside line right on the edge of the own penalty area. Here comes Pascal Gross, keeps it low and goes straight at Ortega, I should say, who dealt with that one comfortably. But the City wall jumped, and I'm not sure if the Gross free kick actually went under it or it just bent round it, but he kept it very, very low. But Ortega seemed to have seen it all the way. And he goes long up to Mahrez now. Mahrez with the knockdown into Haaland, but Haaland dispossessed by Estupiñán. Now Caicedo. Back now with Van Hecke. Colwill, and now to Jason Steele. All in yellow this evening. Again, takes a few touches almost right down the throats of Erling Haaland and Kevin De Bruyne up to the edge of the area. Very confident play there with his feet by Jason Steele, and he gets it clear and up to Mitoma, who unfortunately for him runs out of play, and City have already got on taking the throw in. Again, having to play themselves out from the back. Well, not having to, but choosing to, yet being put under lots and lots of pressure by the likes of Welbeck and Caicedo, and then Ciso too, and it's just about paying dividends for Brighton. They've won the ball back, flicked on, looking for Buonanotte, falls now to Danny Welbeck, and he lays it off, and is that a foul? I think the referee playing advantage, nothing coming there, and it will be another free kick, and this one certainly, if the last one was in Pascal Gross's shooting range, this one certainly is. Danny Welbeck picking the ball up just on the edge of the area, and again it was him laying one off to one of his teammates. This time it was Billy Gilmour, and he was caught as he tried to turn away from his marker. And this one in a very similar position, a few yards closer to goal. Again, probably level with Ortega's right hand post, about 20 yards from goal. This time Estupiñán, Gross, Welbeck, Enciso and Gilmour all look interested in this one. And Welbeck may just be there to act as a bit of a decoy, but he's the one putting the ball down and seems to be shaping up for the run. Enciso still looking interested. Gross actually has left this one, he won't be taking it. Enciso also now moves away, so it'll be Welbeck or Estupiñán. Welbeck with the right foot, Estupiñán with his left. Let's see what comes of this one. Mitoma's lurking dangerously just away from the wall. Here's Welbeck with the shot, and it's off the bar. Still alive. Bit of head tennis at the edge of the area. Now Gilmour. Excellent strike by Danny Welbeck. Just off the crossbar. I think it may have been the angle of post and bar, in fact, right on the postage stamp, but I think Ortega was beaten by that one. Excellent strike by Welbeck, just a little bit too high. And Brighton is trying to keep this attack going, but City eventually crowd them out, and suddenly they could be on the counter-attack because Mahrez has found De Bruyne in space, 25 yards out, now to Haaland at the edge of the area on the right-hand side. Lays one back to De Bruyne, but it was just beyond him, and able to get back was Buonanotte. Up to the halfway line, but he can only find Rico Lewis. But Brighton regain possession. Caicedo goes down, gets on quickly with the free kick that he was awarded. Now Gilmour. Up to Enciso. Down goes Caicedo again, but this time it was a fair challenge, says the referee. Phil Foden motoring now, and he's picked out Haaland, who's suddenly in acres of space. Erling Haaland, can he go around the goalkeeper? No, he goes straight into Jason Steele, who stood up well. And the first time that we've seen Erling Haaland put on the afterburners doesn't result in the goal. Suddenly the space in midfield parted like the Red Sea. And Phil Foden was just able to play in Erling Haaland. Van Hecke wasn't tight enough to him, and he was through on goal there, Erling Haaland. And how many times have we seen this with only one result so far? But couldn't get it out of his feet, and Jason Steele got down to smother the opportunity. Brighton now on the edge of the City box. Mitoma shaping to shoot, is blocked. Falls to De Bruyne. End-to-end stuff right now. De Bruyne up to halfway. Needs some support. Goes back to find Gundogan, and finally the game slows down a little bit. Gundogan and Bernardo Silva combine and reduce the match to walking pace. John Stones now. Bernardo Silva out wide to Foden. Foden running at Pascal Gross, cutting in field, edge of the area. Phil Foden still going, pass one, lays it off to Mahrez, who's cutting in from the other wing. Mahrez with a couple of step overs, then the shot is comfortably blocked. Where's it going to fall? Gundogan looking interested, he loses out. Now Mitoma. Enciso finds Mitoma again, who's bursting through the middle, plays the ball out wide. There's Stupinian trying to get up from the back, but the pace of Kyle Walker is too much for him, just as it is too much for everyone. And Walker gets back and clears away. Ball goes out. We're in the 23rd minute. It's still 0-0 between Brighton Hove Albion and Manchester City at the Amex. You're listening to Flash Score's audio coverage of tonight's Premier League game between the champions for the 5th time in 6 seasons, and the side who are in 6th place and have already guaranteed their best ever finish in the top flight. It's Ortega in possession, making his 3rd appearance of the Premier League season. All of them have come in the month of May. Not wanting to risk anything regarding Edison. Pep Guardiola, that is. Now John Stones, short pass to Rodri. Now Foden. Foden darting past Buonanotte. Picks out Bernardo Silva, but he can't take it in his strides. Brighton get numbers back. Gilmour in possession. Just running out of danger. Tries to find Enciso, but a good covering challenge by John Stones. Now the ball goes and Brighton are taking a throw, which they work all the way back to Jan-Paul van Hecke. Steele, again taking those touches up to the edge of the area, which he likes to do. Tries to find Mitoma. Well, this one's going to go all the way to Ortega, who's almost on the sideline to knock this one forward. Nearly to halfway, but well won back by Colwill. Brighton can't do anything with the possession though. Rodri. Short to Gundogan. Up to Haaland. He lays one off to Mahrez. Tries to pick out Haaland again, who has stayed onside, I think. And then can he go round Jason Steele? Edge of the area. Lays it off to Foden. Surely this must be 1-0. Phil Foden. It is 1-0. Manchester City with a killer pass up to Erling Haaland. Cut through the Brighton midfield. And Haaland lays on a plate for Phil Foden. He wasn't greedy, Erling Haaland. He picks out a man who has been his provider so many times in this campaign. The ball forward up to Haaland. He laid it off to Mahrez. And in 1 second, quick as a flash, Haaland had gone upfield. He was picked out by Mahrez. Jason Steele well off his line. Trying to cover, trying to cut back. And Erling Haaland lays it off to Foden, who still had work to do really. Gross and Van Hecke were back, and Van Hecke back on the line. Got a fairly sizable touch, a fairly good deflection on the Foden shot, which wasn't the cleanest hit. But it ended up in the back of the net, and Phil Foden in the 25th minute has put Manchester City ahead. And for Foden, it's his 11th goal of the campaign. He is City's second highest goal scorer in the Premier League. Still a good 25 behind Erling Haaland. But a good return for Foden, who of course isn't a guaranteed starter every week. Now, who is in the City team? But we're back underway. Brighton and Hove Albion 0, Manchester City 1. Stefan Ortega again, deciding to go short, inviting the pressure once more. Bernardo Silva back to him. Now up to Mahrez. Mahrez and Haaland combining again. This time Mahrez running out of room. Brighton win it back. Goes back to Jason Steele. He goes forward to Caicedo, but his header can't find Danny Welbeck. But Gross now wins it back for Brighton. A good header up to Buonanotte. Buonanotte running at Rodri. He goes infield to Caicedo. He lays it off to Billy Gilmour. Estupinian getting up from the back. Chips one into the area. It's found Buonanotte. Can he gather? No! It was right onto the chest of Buonanotte. I'm not too sure if he was really expecting the ball to travel all the way to him. And the ball bounced heavily off his chest. And Ortega was able to beat him to it. And Facundo Buonanotte knew what a big chance that was. And it remains 1-0 to City. Back now with John Stones, Kyle Walker. Two players who picked up their 5th Premier League winners' medal at the weekend. Haaland, who's just of course won his first. Silva, good tracking back by Mitoma, wins possession back for the Seagulls. Jason Steele with the short pass to Billy Gilmour, who's come very deep. Moises Caicedo uses the former England under-21 man. It's part of the Great Britain squad for the Olympic Games 11 years ago. Jason Steele didn't play in that tournament. He's going to stay at 6 clean sheets for the season, but in 8 appearances. Very solid record for the man that was number 2 for the majority of the campaign. City building again with Rodri. Now wide to Foden. With one touch he finds Lewis. Lewis tries to feed in Erling Haaland, but well recovered that time. Levi Colwill getting back to make a vital interception. Now Caicedo up to Welbeck. Short passes in their own half by Brighton. They're up to the halfway line now with Welbeck, who's got space to move into. He's got his head up. The run of Mitoma, he decided not to try and pick out. Gilmour wide to Estupinian, who's up from the back on the Brighton left-hand side. Colwill now forward to Welbeck. Welbeck shrugs off a challenge and finds Enciso. Enciso shaping to shoot edge of the area. It's deflected up and out it goes for a corner for Brighton and Hove Albion. They took their time, Brighton, there. They like to move the ball forward quickly, usually in attack. Good counter-attacking team under Roberto De Zerbi. But that time they were patient. They went back to Colwill, who picked out Welbeck. And then Enciso found the space 20 yards out, unleashed the shot. And Brighton actually, after having only about 25% of possession for the first 20 minutes, are pretty much level with City now for the last 10. We've hit the 30-minute mark. Over comes the corner from Pascal Gross. Surely it's going to be turned in. It is a very unorthodox finish, that one, by Kaoru Mitoma. But it is 1-1. Brighton have equalised. But this one surely is going to be checked. The corner from Gross came in. It was flicked onto the back post, where steaming in was Kaoru Mitoma. He seemed to chest the ball forward first. Ortega got something on it. And as Mitoma's momentum carried him forward, he bundled the ball over the line. And we've just got to check what part of his body he used to do that. Definitely the first contact was with his chest. Oh, and it seems that the second, or at least the decisive contact, was with his right arm. It was from his chest to Ortega, to his chest, and as he fell into the goal, really, the ball then touched off his right arm. Nothing really Mitoma could do about that one, but a quick decision made by VAR. And it remains Brighton 0, Man City 1. Handball against Kaoru Mitoma. City have taken their free kick, but do nothing with it other than clear their lines, and the ball is back with Jason Steele. Low ball straight through the middle up to Enciso. He couldn't gather, and then Billy Gilmore failed to tidy up. He gives it to Gundogan, and via a couple of deflections, he goes back to John Stones. Rodri now to the left-hand side, where Phil Foden takes control of things. Nothing really on for him, so he uses Rodri once more. Takes the 1-2 with Gundogan. Now short pass forward to Lewis, who in turn goes to Silva. Back to the young Englishman again. Good pressure from Brighton. They forced City to go back to Ortega. Ortega waiting again, basically the last seconds to unleash his pass. His pass is good up to Haaland. And Lewis to De Bruyne. Lewis again combining with Foden. Kevin De Bruyne being forced back by Estupinian, but gets away from him. Then just pokes the ball along the halfway line out to Kyle Walker. City comfortable in possession. On the halfway line is Ilkay Gundogan. Lays one off to John Stones. Silva and Gundogan again. Silva made the run, but Gundogan decided to go to the opposite side, where he picks out Phil Foden. Takes in his stride, Foden. Lays it off to Silva, takes the 1-2. Now back to De Bruyne. De Bruyne chips it over to Foden, who volleys it into the area where he finds Mahrez. Mahrez with his back to goal. Plays it to Kyle Walker. A lovely inventive pass there by De Bruyne, but Foden not able to do too much with it. Back now with Rodri. Just waiting, you sense, for that killer pass, similar to the Mahrez one that really ended up creating the chance. Now Lewis driving forward. Haaland tries to pick out Lewis again, but well read that time by Moises Caicedo to intercept and then draw the foul from Rico Lewis. And Brighton hold their lines. Seeing a replay of that Danny Welbeck free kick from about 10 minutes ago now. Was off the crossbar, and Ortega was a full stretch. I think he don't think would have reached that one. Mitoma on the left-hand side for Brighton. Wide of him is Estupinian. He uses Purvis Estupinian. It's a good cross, a dangerous one. Oh, and it almost fell to Buonanotte again. And not for the first time. Buonanotte seems to not be expecting the ball when it runs on all the way through to him. Rico Lewis not able to deal with it. And it's Buonanotte just heads it down into the path of the defender, and it ricochets back off him and out for a goal kick. And City have taken short, and Ortega again invites the pressure. It almost slips over. One back by Buonanotte. Better from him this time. Pass one, pass two. Buonanotte with the shot. It's well saved by Ortega. That was better from Facundo Buonanotte. Good injection of pace. There's still a life for Brighton with Mitoma. Mitoma on the edge of the area. Lays one off to Buonanotte again. A heavy touch from him, but they get away with it. Estupinian. Caicedo chips one into the area. Headed away by Phil Foden. And City able to clear with De Bruyne, who then draws the foul by Billy Gilmore, who is adamant that he did nothing wrong there. De Bruyne asking the referee for a yellow card for the Scotsman. But that was a good run straight through the heart of the City defence. Straight through the middle by Facundo Buonanotte. He went past Bernardo Silva and Rodri with ease, and then feinted to make John Stones commit himself. Forced a smart save out of Ortega. Didn't manage to pick out the bottom corner, and it wasn't the most difficult height for a goalkeeper. Nonetheless, save that Ortega had to make. City haven't taken that free kick yet. In the reverse fixture back in October, City were victors by 3-1. Erling Haaland scored 2 of those, De Bruyne with the other. But the man who scored for Brighton has moved on to pastures new. That was Leandro Trossard, who is still Brighton's joint 3rd Premier League goal scorer this season. Alexis McAllister, their top scorer, with 10 on the bench this evening. And Jason Steele getting more and more comfortable, getting further and further out of his area through the middle with those before making his clearances. And Brighton now find Buonanotte on the right hand side. Up from the back is Pascal Gross. Buonanotte again. Forced back though and using Van Hecke. Gross once more and finds Steele. And Lewis Dunk, who is also on the substitutes bench for Brighton this evening, has lost his 100% minutes record in the Premier League. He hadn't missed a single minute of Premier League action before today. The shot comes in. Oh, what a goal! What a wonderful equaliser for Brighton. It's Julio Enciso from all of 25 yards into the top corner, powered one past the helpless Stefan Ortega. Out of absolutely nothing. The Brighton fans are in disbelief. Unbelievable strike. The Paraguayan has scored his 4th Premier League goal of the season. He only made his Premier League debut back in October, just making his 6th start in the league this season. He's got the dance, he's got the celebration that goal deserves. Wonderful, wonderful strike. And it came from Steele. Brighton attacked down the right hand side. And he was just played in comfortably to Enciso, who had space. And then with his right foot, oh, that was a glorious strike. Absolutely glorious. And it even earned some applause from the Manchester City fans behind the goal. Wonderful strike from 25 yards out from Julio Enciso. It really was where the owl sleeps, in the top corner. Postage stamp. Excellent finish by Julio Enciso, and we're all square again. It's Brighton and Hove Albion 1, Manchester City 0, and you won't see many better finishes than that in the Premier League. Check that one out when you get to see some highlights later on. It was an excellent finish. And Brighton have got their tails up now and are trying to attack through the middle once more and have won themselves a free kick. Kyle Walker, the guilty party, upending Pervis Estupinian. In fact, there was a handball there from Walker with the ball that fell to Estupinian, and then he fouled him for good measure. There are 2 reasons to give a foul against Kyle Walker. 40 minutes gone. And Brighton coming through the middle again. It's Enciso again, and they're stopping him at source now, City. Bernardo Silva is going to be the first man into the book this evening for a rather cynical foul on Julio Enciso, who had picked the ball up in similar territory to where he had scored from a couple of minutes ago. And then there's a little clip from the behind from Bernardo Silva. No attempt to play the ball. And a certain yellow card for the Portuguese man, who is playing in the Premier League for the 200th time this evening. And he's only the third Portuguese man to do that. Luis Boa Morte and someone called Cristiano Ronaldo have done that. Brighton take the free kick short to Estupinian, and his cross is poor. It's not poor, in fact, it was deflected. My apologies to Estupinian. His cross ended up on the roof of the net, and it took a deflection. So a corner kick for Brighton. We're in the 42nd minute. You're listening to Flashcore's audio commentary, and we're actually having a check for a penalty there. Simon Hooper is just having a word with VAR, but then he gives the call for the corner, so nothing doing in terms of penalising. It was Riyad Mahrez there, in fact, who kept his arms close to his body, so no foul there. Brighton take the corner short to Mitoma. Over comes the cross now, headed away, and then thumb clear by Silva. Estupinian's going to try and keep this one alive, as is Caicedo. Now to Gross. He's back now with Jan Paul van Hecke. Uses centre-back partner Levi Colwill, links up with Caicedo. Excellent short, sharp attacking passes from Brighton. They're into the City half with Buonanotte on the right-hand side. Skips past one challenge. Tries to chip the ball forward. Picks out Estupinian, but his header down can't pick out Mitoma, and City are able to clear it away. Only as far as Billy Gilmore. Gilmore on the left-hand side, midway inside City half. Mitoma. Past Mahrez. Excellently done. Buonanotte now. Back again with Gilmore. Gilmore combines with Mitoma, but then forced back. City have numbers. Van Hecke. Infield to Gross. Gross forward to Buonanotte. Gilmore's pass looking for Estupinian is poor though. Straight to Mahrez. Mahrez goes back to Ortega. And Ortega doesn't waste too much time with his clearance this time. But it's cut out by Van Hecke. Van Hecke takes it on himself. Now goes wide to Mitoma. Mitoma in space. Forward to Welbeck. Has he stayed outside? Danny Welbeck with a chance and a goal! Danny Welbeck, no! He hasn't beaten the offside trap. Flag up from the assistant on this near side as I look at things. It seemed like Danny Welbeck had arced his run perfectly to get onto the through ball from Kaoru Mitoma, but in fact he had gone half a yard too early. And a good call there by the assistant. Would have been a great finish from a relatively tight angle from Welbeck with his left foot. But it's been chalked off. So that's 3 times now Brighton have had the ball in Stefan Ortega's net. But it remains Brighton and Hove Albion 1, Man City 1. And we're in the last minutes of the 45. I imagine we'll have no more than a couple of minutes added on, and that might be all the time City need, because they're bursting down the right-hand side now with Riyad Mahrez. Mahrez gets to the byline. Back to Kevin De Bruyne. De Bruyne crosses. Trying to pick out Haaland, and Foden's there. Foden, oh! Right, skims off the top of the crossbar. Phil Foden with his header. Really excellent chance there. Just tried to pick out the very top of Jason Steele's net with his head as he remained planted on the floor. Really well directed header there from Phil Foden, meeting the cross of De Bruyne, but just couldn't keep it down. Steele was beaten. And in fact, I was wrong. We're having 3 minutes added on. But it remains 1-1 between Brighton and City. And this kind of match where the teams have achieved their goals for the season, being played in quite a good vein, good tempo. Both teams attacking, and both teams scoring. Steele put his side under pressure with his clearance, but Gross gets back to tidy up for Brighton. City in possession once more, though. Will they fall to De Bruyne? No, Van Hecke just does enough. Back to Jason Steele, who clears with his first touch. Yes, and Buonanotte, in fact, goes down fairly heavily as he challenged with Rico Lewis. Don't believe Lewis was really at fault there, but it was a really awkward landing there for Buonanotte, who's been in the wars so far this evening. Not a particularly Buonanotte for him. And we're using the stoppage to have another look at the replay of the Enciso strike. Thundered into the top corner with his right foot. It was dipping, it was swerving, it was far too much for Stefan Ortega to deal with for any goalkeeper. As good as you can get to a perfect strike there from Julio Enciso. We've got just over 1 minute of the initial 3 that were added, still to be played. Mitoma, who's looking for the run of Welbeck, decided not to use it. He finds Brighton's goal scorer Enciso. Enciso into the area. Crosses it to Welbeck, who had so much time and space, and I think he didn't realise how much space he had. He had the freedom of the City penalty area there, Danny Welbeck, and he probably could have taken it down. Decided to go for the header instead and made a right meal of it. And Rico Lewis able to clear in the end. I think if Danny Welbeck knew how much space he had there, he would have just been able to jump, get his chest on it, bring it down and fire it past Ortega. But another chance goes begging. But Buonanotte, he just caught Rodri there. It looked like he'd dispossessed him fairly and was through on goal. But the referee called him back for the foul. De Bruyne now. And we have the blast of the whistle from referee Simon Hooper, and that brings to an end a very entertaining half between two sides who have not too much left to play for in the Premier League this season and have been two of the most exciting sides to watch over the last 9 months, and they're proving that again tonight at the Amex Stadium, where Phil Foden put Manchester City in front after 25 minutes, and then Julio Enciso with a quite incredible strike 13 minutes later equalised for the home side. It's Brighton and Hove Albion 1, Manchester City 1. Join me in around 10 minutes time for second half coverage here on Flash Score. He goes forward to Danny Welbeck, formerly, of course, of Manchester United. Van Hecke once more to Steele. Plenty of late arrivals back into the stand on the far side. A few empty seats. As Jason Steele once again goes long looking for Kaoru Mitoma. Dealt with by Kyle Walker. Kevin De Bruyne not able to gather it, and it rolls on to Pervis Estupiñán. His touch is a little bit heavy. And then with a couple of deflections, the ball finds itself at the feet of Levi Colwill. Steele now tries to pick out Caicedo, but a poor clearance really, and Rodri is in possession for City. He finds Bernardo Silva. Silva trying to get away from Billy Gilmore on the far side. Now Rico Lewis. Stones and Rodri in combination. On that left wing again, Bernardo Silva. Infield is Lewis. Once more to John Stones. Playing in defence this evening, not in midfield. Lewis put under a lot of pressure by Caicedo and Buonanotte, but gets away with it. Now Bernardo Silva. Short passing field to Ilkay Gundogan. Rico Lewis now over halfway. Wide of him is Kevin De Bruyne. De Bruyne almost manages to just run through the middle of three Brighton defenders. They can't quite beat the third, but the ball back with Rodri now. He just lays one off for Rico Lewis. Foden tries to pick out De Bruyne, but it's intercepted. Falls to Gundogan, now Bernardo Silva. Gundogan again. Excellent spell of possession from City, and they are gradually moving the ball further and further forward. On the wide left-hand side now is Phil Foden. Infield to De Bruyne. Bernardo Silva with a cross, an acrobatic effort there from Erling Haaland. Once again, he doesn't get quite over the ball. But attempting wouldn't quite call it a bicycle kick, but he got his left foot very high off the ground. And he just didn't make a clean connection with it, and there's a smile on the face of the big Norwegian. But there's been one or two chances like that for Haaland. Difficult ones, but ones maybe lacking in his usual accuracy. 3 minutes gone almost in the second half. It's Brighton 1, City 1. Jason Steele just chips one over the top to the halfway line, but Brighton unable to gather, and now it's Gundogan tries to thread one through to Bernardo Silva. Somehow it does manage to reach him. Now Phil Foden with a cross. Jason Steele's all at sea, and thankfully for him there was no one steering it at the back for City, and Estupiñán was the first man to it. Now Riyad Mahrez cutting in field. De Bruyne, Mahrez again, it passed a little bit behind him. But De Bruyne does well to wrestle it back. He finds Haaland. Haaland lays it off to Gundogan, who shoots across goal, and it goes just wide. Did very well there, Ilkay Gundogan, to get his shot away, and from a tight angle, almost caused a lot of problems there for Jason Steele. He used Levi Colwill, and I think it deflected off Colwill in the end, which may have made it a bit more difficult for Steele. It goes just wide. I'm not sure if the referee noticed the deflection there. You can see a couple of substitutions getting ready for City already. Looks like it's Cole Palmer getting ready, and the deflection was caught, and City have taken the corner short. Now Phil Foden, to the edge of the area, lays it off to Rico Lewis with a shot, and it was a bit of a weak effort really on target, but straight into the chest of Jason Steele. Not the most powerful effort from Rico Lewis. He's looking for his first goal in the Premier League, which would be his second for City. It's his 22nd appearance in the first team. One of the latest products off the conveyor belts at the Manchester City Academy. Kaoru Mitoma. And then Pervis Estupiñán slips over at the vital moments, and the ball goes out of play. Now for a City throw. And that is the end of the evening for Phil Foden. He is going to be the first man making way, and it's for one of the men who came into the side at the weekend, Cole Palmer, making his first Premier League start of the campaign. And he's off the bench for the 12th time this season, Cole Palmer. Another appearance for him, and another starter at the weekend who dropped to the bench this evening. Evan Ferguson of Brighton is coming on, as is World Cup winning extraordinaire Alexis McAllister. So 2 changes now for Brighton, and it's the goal scorer Julio Enciso. Sorry, in fact both goal scorers are going off at the same point. Foden off for City, and then receiving a very warm reception from the home crowd is Julio Enciso, the youngster, just 19 years of age. Brighton have scored plenty of goals courtesy of teenagers this evening, and Evan Ferguson has got plenty of those too. Julio Enciso contributing plenty as well. Billy Gilmore is coming off to be replaced by McAllister, and it's the Irishman Evan Ferguson on in place of Julio Enciso. So a double change for the Seagulls. Just the one for Pep Guardiola's side. We're back underway now. Bernardo Silva dropping deep and finding Rodri. Here's Ortega. He's enjoying possession, as he does like to. Then goes short to John Stones. Stones uses Ortega again, who puts his foot through one. Headed down by Pervis Estupiñán to Levi Colwill. Alexis McAllister getting his first touches, as is Evan Ferguson to find the Argentinian. Estupiñán once more. No option but to go back to Colwill. Nice touches by Caicedo and McAllister, but then cut out by Rodri. He finds Haaland, just tries to burst through the middle, but in the end he's tackled, and the ball is played out to Cole Palmer. Palmer to the edge of the area. Great strike from Palmer. Stings the gloves of Jason Steele from inside the area, but from quite wide out, Cole Palmer deciding not to try and pick out Haaland in the middle. Nice ball from Gundogan out to him. A lot of power in that strike from the youngster. Good save though by Steele. 8 minutes gone in the second half. Still 1-1 between Brighton and the champions, City. And Hecker forward to Ferguson. Back to McAllister, and Alexis McAllister just trying to get his eye in at the moment. His ball out wide looking for a Estupiñán. Overhits. It goes out of play for a throw-in. Very few aimless balls and overhits and underhit passes in this game. It's normally a good way to judge it is how many throw-ins we've had in a match, and don't think there's been too many in this game. Kyle Walker goes back to John Stones inside his area, finds Bernardo Silva. City being put under plenty of pressure again, but as usual, dealing with it fairly comfortably. Rico Lewis now up to Rodri. Bernardo Silva, who's again dropping quite deep, takes a return ball from Rodri as he bursts over the halfway line. Bernardo Silva, Palmer, and he goes down. Bernardo Silva off the ball inside the area, but absolutely nothing doing, says the referee. Bernardo Silva is adamant that Moises Caicedo fouled him. No, says the referee. Seeing a replay now on the first one, again fairly inconclusive. And there was the tiniest touch from Moises Caicedo on the right arm of Bernardo Silva, but would have been a very, very weak penalty. Ball over the top finds Kairo Mitoma. His ball is a little bit overhit though, and Stefan Ortega has to come out of his area to play it, but he only plays it to a Brighton man. They're on the attack again. Evan Ferguson, he can't take it in his stride. And John Stones is there to tidy up, but it's been won back. Forced to Ferguson with a great strike from a tight angle. And it's well saved by Ortega, who has to turn it behind for a corner. But as was happening early in the first half, City very lackadaisical at the back. And it was good work there by Pascal Gross, in fact, getting forward to challenge John Stones. Almost cut out his attempted clearance. It fell to Ferguson, and from tight on the right hand side of the penalty area, forced a save from Ortega, who had covered the angle as well. But nonetheless, a good strike. Over comes the corner, flicked on by Ferguson. Where's it going to fall? They're stooping out with the shots, but it's well blocked. Now Caicedo, Mitoma. They try to keep it alive for Brighton. Mitoma trying to get away from a couple of challenges. Walker and Bernardo Silva tracking him. Infield to Estupinian now. McAllister deep. Pascal Gross gets his head up. Over comes the ball to Mitoma on the volley, and goes way over the top there from Kairo Mitoma, who again was just ghosting in at the back post, pretty much unmarked. And he tried the side foot volley with his right foot, and this time got underneath it, and over it went. It's the end of Kevin De Bruyne's evening, and he has been replaced by Julian Alvarez. Julian Alvarez, another World Cup winner. We've got a World Cup winner on both sides of the pitch at the moment. Julian Alvarez, who scored the goal last time out for City against Chelsea. City still content to invite so much Brighton pressure, and once again Brighton win it back inside the City half. McAllister back to Gross. Now Van Hecke. Up to Ferguson now, but he can't pick out a teammate. John Stones. Now he is starting to get forward, John Stones. Just bursting straight through the middle. And then forward to Cole Palmer on the left wing. Palmer running at Gross. Gets to the edge of the area. Gross holds him off. Needs some support, Cole Palmer. Still in possession. Oh, and then his pass is a bit of a woeful one. And I was saying we hadn't had too many misplaced passes, too many throw-ins, and then Cole Palmer just goes and plays one straight out over the touchline. So a couple of changes being made by both sets of managers. I imagine they will rotate. Use their full complement of 5 substitutions. Ball played into the area and not dealt with particularly cleanly by Levi Colwill. Finally, Pascal Gross gets it away for City. Palmer getting stuck in again. Gross up to Ferguson. Doesn't quite bring it down as he would have wanted. Riyad Mahrez forward to Alvarez with his back to goal. Goes down under a hefty challenge and wins a free kick from Pervis Estupinian. Estupinian, the Ecuadorian. 1 goal in the Premier League for him so far. That came against Arsenal. And Julian Alvarez scored his 9th goal of the Premier League season at home at the weekend before receiving his Premier League winners' medal. City underway again. Palmer on the left-hand side. Cuts back away from Buonanotte. Infield to Gundogan. Gundogan wants to go across field to Kyle Walker, picks him out. Walker will try his effort from the long range. He likes to take a few shots on like that from quite far out with his right foot, Kyle Walker, keeping them low and going across goal, but he didn't catch that one particularly cleanly. Now to play it goes. And Julian Alvarez, I mentioned him winning his Premier League medal. He's got himself a Premier League winners' medal, a World Cup winners' medal, a Copa Libertadores winners' medal with River Plate. And he could add a Champions League winners' medal and an FA Cup winners' medal. And, you know, that's not a bad, well, not even 12 months In the European context, the Libertadores win was this season. They've got some defending to do here, Manchester City, because Ferguson is combining with Welbeck. But the return pass to Ferguson didn't quite work out. But the industrious Danny Welbeck isn't giving up the fight here. He is tussling with Alvarez. Wins the ball back. Now Mitoma. A strike comes in from McAllister. Blocked. Forced to Caicedo. His shot is blocked as well. It's back to McAllister once more. He feeds Pascal Gross. Sides against the cross. And then he slips at the vital moment. Rico Lewis able to win possession back and draw the foul from Gross. And nothing quite falling though Brighton's way at the moment. And they're going forward. A couple of slips in key situations. 61 minutes of the match have been played. You're listening to Flash Scores audio coverage of what is currently Brighton and Hove Albion 1, Manchester City 1. Poor clearance by Ortega. One back by Brighton, but only very briefly because City have regained possession. They're on the counter-attack here. Ball out wide to Palmer, who manages to keep it in play. Cole Palmer got his head up, goes to the cross, it's low. Turned away though by Jan-Paul van Hecke. Goes out of play inside Brighton's half on the far side. Throw in taken by Lewis. Now he feeds Bernardo Silva into Gundogan. Stones and Walker now in combination, but being forced back well by Mitoma and Ferguson. Ortega short to Gundogan, who came to collect. Prods one through to Alvarez. Bernardo Silva. Now Gundogan. They combine so nicely, but going nowhere fast with it. Still 20 yards or so inside their own half. Every blue and white shirt still ahead of them. John Stones takes the 1-2 with Bernardo Silva, and the match barely at walking pace at the moment. Bernardo Silva just goes on a little trot forward 5 yards, then cuts back in again, finds Gundogan. John Stones goes wide to Alvarez. Tries to get away from Levi Colwill, who's very high up the pitch for, I'm not really too sure what reason, other than just tracking Alvarez. Forward now to Rodri, and his pass goes right in between Palmer and Lewis. I really did put a curse on that one. Brighton's owner, Tony Bloom, is in attendance. So highly regarded for their recruitment, Brighton, has been said a million times, both in terms of playing staff and coaching as well. And I thought, how could they replace Graham Potter? And then in comes Roberto De Zerbi. They thought, how could they replace some of the players that they've lost over the last couple of seasons? They're replacing they have, and arguably, for both managers and players, they've got themselves upgrades. But we've seen with the likes of Leicester and Southampton, these kind of good models don't always work out. But for Brighton, it is working out right now as Estupinian crosses, and it's fallen to Mitoma. Can he get a shot away? It's well saved by Stefan Ortega. Brighton patient in their build-up once more. Cross by Estupinian from the left wing to Mitoma at the near post, who chested it down and then just tried to hook it over Ortega. Ortega closed down the space really well and made a good save. And out of play it goes. And it's going to be Pascal Gross to take Brighton's fifth quarter of the evening. It's going to be an in-swinger with his right foot on the near side as I look at things. Mitoma offering the short option. Gross puts it into the area, flicked on. Where's it going to land? Headed away, and Facundo Buonanotte is there to gather for City. Purvis, Estupinian and Pascal Gross in combination. Few bodies still up there for Brighton, but everyone gradually making their way back, and Purvis Estupinian retreats 10 yards with the ball at his feet to halfway. Finds Alexis McAllister, who just allows Brighton to regain their shape following that corner. Pull back with Jan-Paul van Hekke. And it really was end-to-end stuff in the first half. Second half being a bit more methodical, a bit more lacking in pace. But chances for both sides nonetheless. Ball out to the wing with Mitoma. And Estupinian and Mahrez combine. The referee just says, play on. Ball over the top to Haaland with the shot to the cross goal. It just goes wide. Erling Haaland doesn't need much to get a strike of some note away. Chested the ball down very nicely there at the edge of the area. And from a fairly tight angle, blasted the shot across goal. Glenn Murray, with 26 goals, is level with Neal Maupay for Brighton as their top scorer in the Premier League. But for now, Julian Alvarez is coming forward for City. Lays it off to Riyad Mahrez. Alvarez once more. His attempted shot is blocked. Turned away by Purvis Estupinian. Caicedo tussling with Walker. Again, the referee says play on. Buonanotte trying to get away from Palmer. Does so, and then plays the ball to Mitoma. Bit of space for the Japanese winger. Trying to get away from Kyle Walker, which is no easy task. Has to go back to his Ecuadorian teammate. Estupinian, now infield to another South American. Alexis McAllister. Finds a few yards and then plays it to Mar again. Excellent challenge though by Riyad Mahrez. Stood up and got a solid contact on the ball. And for good measure, even managed to play the ball off Mitoma, so went out for a goal kick. Excellent challenge by someone who's not so well known for their defensive work. Riyad Mahrez joining plenty of his teammates with 5 Premier League medals, but unlike the rest of them, he's picked them up with 2 teams. One, of course, with Leicester City. And I mentioned Glenn Murray and Neal Maupay's 26 Premier League goals for Brighton, because only one behind them is Pascal Gross, often playing as a winger or tonight even playing in a more defensive role, but with 25 Premier League goals for Brighton, one more is all he needs to equal those 2 former Seagulls. Brighton with some quick passes through the middle up to Mitoma, but then he can't find either Estupinian or Ferguson. One back by Alvarez, and then foul committed on Mahrez by Mitoma. We're into the final quarter of the match. In the 69th minute at the moment, it's still 1-1 between Brighton and Man City. Kyle Walker forward to Alvarez. He goes back with his first touch to Ilkay Gundogan. Again, Brighton committing numbers back, something that they are often guilty of not doing. Holding quite a rigid defensive shape at the moment. Bernardo Silva, infield to Rodri. Rodri, Bernardo Silva and Gundogan in combination once more. Good tackle there by Mitoma on Kyle Walker. Goes out for a throw though. Pep Guardiola on the sidelines has just won his 11th title in 3 countries as a manager. 5 in the Premier League, 3 each in the Bundesliga and La Liga. And he won La Liga title 6 times as a Barcelona player. 17 times in his long footballing career. His team are pouring forward again now. Bernardo Silva. Back to John Stones, who gets away from Evan Ferguson. Danny Welbeck is chasing Rodri, but to no avail. Forward to Rico Lewis, who does well to turn nicely away from Gross as he gathers the ball. Then he gets the advantage. Rico Lewis still going. Infield to Alvarez. Well dispossessed though? No. In fact, it's a foul. Moises Caicedo, who upends Alvarez. Alvarez looks to look pretty lively, and Rico Lewis has done so for the whole game. The kids are doing all right for Manchester City. And a touch of the ball there for Pep Guardiola. Has to go and retrieve a loose ball, and enjoys a bit of a smile and a joke with Roberto De Zerbi, and has a go at the fourth official for good measure, because, well, what else can you do with fourth officials? Well, we don't promote any disregard for officials, but Pep Guardiola's mood definitely changed when he saw the fourth official reprimanding him for going onto the field of play. The free kick came to nothing for City, and the ball is back now with Ortega. Rodri. Alvarez and Gundogan as well in combination. Ortega short to Rodri. The pace really has come out of this game for much of the second half. Very much a game of two halves. Sorry to use the old cliche, but it has felt like that in terms of the pace of the game. Kyle Walker to Stones. Bernardo Silva collects it inside his own area from Ortega, then skips across the penalty area. Still inside the penalty area, the ball is Bernardo Silva. Finally comes out of it, trying to get away from Alexis McAllister. And then as soon as he comes outside the area, he plays it back to Ortega. Rodri comes short. City still very content to play this dangerous game. Another ball back to Ortega. Finally he puts his foot through it. Cole Palmer into Rico Lewis. Rico Lewis going from left to right, but then his pass was telegraphed, well cut out by Mitoma, but it falls back to a City boot fairly quickly. Now Riyad Mahrez. Mahrez running at Mitoma. There's a Brighton man down. Now Alvarez. Alvarez with a shot, but I think we are coming back for this injury. Yes, we are. I think it's Van Hecke who's down. I think it was Alvarez who clattered into him. Yeah, Van Hecke just stood his ground, knowing full well that Alvarez was going to lay the ball off and then run straight into him. And it was a bit theatrical from the Dutch defender, who was towering over the diminutive Argentinian, just to make the rather theatrical dive look even more silly from Jan-Paul Van Hecke. And we're going to use the stoppage to have two more Brighton substitutions. And one man who was certainly in the wars a little bit in the first half, Facundo Buonanotte, is exiting the field, and as is Danny Welbeck. So another two changes in more attacking roles for Brighton. On for Welbeck and Buonanotte come Dennis Undav and Joel Veltman. So one like-for-like change, and actually a more defensive change for Roberto De Zerbi. So Joel Veltman and Dennis Undav entering the action. Veltman, another one who was dropped for this game. He's going to get a 15 minutes run out plus injury time, as is Undav, who came off the bench in the last match as well. Mitoma now. Straight to Undav, who's in space, into the area. Clips it to the back where he's trying to pick out Ferguson. A little bit overhit, but Gross is there to keep it alive for Brighton. Lays it off to Veltman. His cross is deflected and it balloons up into the area. Back now with McAllister. Veltman chips one forward to Ferguson, who chests down nicely. Ferguson just cannot get it into his stride. To Estupinian! What an effort that was, and just wide it goes. Purvis Estupinian coming up from the back after the ball was half cleared, and it just sat up so nicely for him. The invitation to strike that one was just too glorious for Purvis Estupinian. The bouncing ball. Very clean strike with his left foot, and it was almost shaved the upright. But Brighton still on the attack, but the ball infield by Mitoma is easily cleared away. And now Alvarez commits a foul, and it's Brighton now in the ascendancy. That strike from probably over 25 yards from Estupinian. Couldn't have been much closer, and I said you wouldn't see too many better goals than Brighton's equaliser from Enciso, but if that strike had taken the lead, well, it may well have been judged to have been even better. But it remains 1-1 between Brighton and Manchester City. We've had 77 minutes played. Jason Steele out of his area, chips one forward to the halfway line where he finds Evan Ferguson. Ferguson goes down and wins a foul. A little bit of frustration starting to creep in, I should say, for City. It was Gundogan guilty of the foul that time. Brighton played the free kick short, so out to the right hand side with Gross. He tracks back to Van Hecke, who in turn he uses the goalkeeper. Jason Steele again trots out to the edge of his area, still going. No one in black and red coming to close him down. Then comes Bernardo Silva. There's chip forward to Estupinian. His header in field can't pick out a teammate. Now John Stones, who's been moving up as the second half has been progressing into that midfield role that he's been playing in for the last few weeks. Cole Palmer on the left now, running at Veltman. Fresh legs to deal with the youngster. Lewis in field. Gundogan to Palmer, who crosses, and he's there, he's done it. Erling Haaland, you can't keep him quiet for that long. He's put Manchester City ahead with a header from close range after a glorious cross from Cole Palmer, which evaded everyone. It was out of the reach of Jason Steele. Erling Haaland got free of his marker. He's missed a couple of chances with his head earlier in this match, but he wasn't going to waste that one. Erling Haaland gets his 37th goal of the season, just of the Premier League season, that is, of course. Dennis Undav it was, I think, who wasn't tight enough to him. It was Levi Colwill as well, in fact, from whom Erling Haaland got free, and with one of the most simple goals that he can score, Haaland rises and heads home for City, but we may have been crowning that 37th goal a little bit too early, because has Erling Haaland committed a foul? And it looks like he's got hold of Levi Colwill's shirt, I can see on the VAR replays, and it's going to be no goal. Shirt pulling from Erling Haaland. It looked like he got away a bit too easily from Levi Colwill. And the England under-21 international who's received rave reviews at the back for Brighton. Just simply doesn't get beaten that easily without a shirt pull. So it remains 1-1 between Brighton and Manchester City. Erling Haaland has had a goal chalked off, and the Man City technical area is getting a little bit heated now. Again, having words with the fourth official. We are back underway, and it's Brighton coming straight through the middle, and Moises Caicedo is just able to roam free out wide. In comes the cross, Mitoma over. Good cross from Pascal Gross into the danger area. This time it was Mitoma who couldn't quite rise high enough to head that one home. Over the bar it went. And we're well into the last 10 minutes of the 90 here. Brighton have had 2 goals chalked off in this match, 1 for City, but it's 1 each that have counted. Goal kick. Ortega plays out to the wing with it's gathered by Lewis. Infield to Bernardo Silva, plays one forward looking for Cole Palmer, but it's dealt with by Brighton defence. Steele goes to McAllister. Oh, awkward touch by McAllister, but it does reach Steele again. Colwill clears along the floor to Undav. And now it's played into Undav from McAllister, and Undav just couldn't take it in his stride. He should have done better with that one. There, the German. And just like Moises Caicedo a couple of minutes ago, Brighton midfielders, this time it was Alexis McAllister, was able to sprint straight through the middle of the centre of the Man City half in possession. A couple more substitutions getting ready for Man City, and Pep Guardiola is getting quite irate on the touchline now, giving the assistant referee a little bit of a shove as he went past. John Stones is down. Guardiola just apologising to the assistant. But nonetheless, he's going to be booked by the referee. A yellow card for Pep Guardiola. Calvin Phillips is getting ready to come on. The Brighton fans near to the dugouts enjoying the pantomime that's unfolding around them. Seeing another replay of the disallowed Haaland goal. Clear shirt pull. We've got 7 minutes to go. You're listening to Flash Scores commentary of Brighton against Man City in the Premier League. And City are being made to wait, or perhaps being denied the chance to hit 90 points. Sergio Gomez has entered the action for Manchester City. And it's John Stones and Bernardo Silva who have gone off. So Sergio Gomez goes into defence, and Calvin Phillips has come on for Bernardo Silva, who's on a yellow card, of course. So another run out for Phillips, who of course has been plagued by injuries in his debut City campaign. On for just his 12th appearance of the season. No, I miscalculated. This is his 11th. And this is the 10th one from the bench. In the Premier League, that is. Ball cleared away by Ortega up to the halfway line. Takes a couple of deflections and goes out of play for a Man City throw-in. 15 yards or so inside their own half. Sergio Gomez is playing out wide. Kyle Walker seems to be in the more orthodox fullback position as well. Mahrez tries to go forward. Calvin Phillips attempting to sprint onto him, but he'll have to settle for a throw-in. Rico Lewis is getting some instructions from Guardiola. We're into the final 5 minutes at the American Express Community Stadium, or the Amex to you and I. Brighton 1, Manchester City 1. Wide now to Gomez. Infield he goes to the man who came onto the field with him, Calvin Phillips. Back now to Rodri. Walker. Now Rico Lewis has come over to this to the right hand side, bursting forward to Mahrez, but a bit of a poor ball into him, and Pervis Estupiñán was able to win possession back. Brighton try to clear up to the halfway line. They do so, but give possession away. Walker and Lewis. Gundogan. Now Undav for Brighton tries to pick out Ferguson, but that ball was a little bit over-ambitious and it's easily cut out by Rodri. Sergio Gomez for City. Are we going to have a winner in this match? Are these two sides who have dazzled us with their quite amazing performances over the season going to be sharing the spoils tonight? That's a poor challenge though by Phillips, and he'll do well not to get a booking there. Quite a robust challenge on Alexis McAllister, but referee lets him off. Just a free kick for Brighton. City's long winning run in the Premier League under threat here. They've won 12 in a row in the league. A run which goes back to their 1-1 draw with Nottingham Forest on the 18th of February. It's another 1-1 draw away from home, which they may have to settle for this evening. Ortega forward to Mahrez. Gathers well. And draws a foul from McAllister. Still 2.5 minutes of the 90 remaining, and with all the substitutions and the VAR stoppage as well, we should have a decent amount of time to be added on. And when you think that how far Brighton have come, their first ever European qualification this season, and 22 years ago they won the Division 3 title, and they'd been in Division 3, of course nowadays League 2, for around half a dozen years, and that doesn't tell the whole story. Very, very close to going out of business around that time. Didn't have a stadium to call their own. And it's been a long road to recovery, and then a long road up the leagues. And they've continued to grow and grow. Joel Veltman, in the meantime, fouls Cole Palmer and gets his name taken. It's going to be a free kick for City. We're in the 89th minute. It's wide on the Man City left wing. 30 yards out or so, but wide enough to get a good crossing angle. Over it comes. Then towards the head of Haaland, and his header goes over the top. Gets lifted to his feet by Van Hecke. And it seems like it's not going to be Erling Haaland's night. Had that one chalked off around 10 minutes or so ago. And he's still stuck on 36 goals. He's still one behind Ron Davis's 37 for Southampton in the 1966-67 season. Haaland's 36 is the most since then, as you won't be surprised to hear. Ball played back to Ortega, up to the big Norwegian. And he in fact drew the foul. Free kick to City. 5 or 6 yards inside the Brighton half, but a fairly central position. is the moment still to come for Erling Haaland. İlkay Gündoğan certainly hopes so. He picks out Rico Lewis. There's been 4 minutes of stoppage time added. Mahrez tries to feed Erling Haaland, but Van Hecke does enough to keep it away from him. Ferguson turns away. Is it Brighton who are going to score the winning goal? Estupinian. Oh, and then a really awful, unorthodox attempt at a through ball to Mitoma. Got that one all wrong, Estupinian. But now City have given it away to Mitoma. And he dawdled on the ball a bit too long and he lost possession. It's up with Haaland now. And he's been wrestled to the ground by Van Hecke, who's surely going to pick up a yellow card for that. And yes, he is brandished by the referee, Mr. Hooper. So that's 2 men into the book for either side. One of those for City is Pep Guardiola. 1 minute of the 3. I'll say that again. 1 minute of the 4 have elapsed. Still 3 to play, a minimum of at least. Sergio Gomez cutting infield. Wide to Lewis. He has to go back to Walker. Kyle Walker with a bit of a skip and a jump finds Ortega. Passes forward to Gündoğan. Gündoğan just looking for options. Wants to build something meaningful. 20 attempts Brighton have had in this game. 13 for Man City. Despite 62% possession for the visitors. Most important stat is that it's Brighton 1, Man City 1. Now City just press the play button and switch up a few gears. Up to Mahrez on the halfway line. Calvin Phillips. Phillips brings the ball forward up to Gomez on the left. Cole Palmer just skips past Veltman. Has to track back. Overcomes the cross from Gomez and he's overhit that one. And that one just bounces out of play for a goal kick for Brighton. A bit of a waste there from Sergio Gomez. He has 1 assist to his name in the Premier League this season. That came in the 6-3 against Manchester United back in October. Seems like a long time ago now. Moved around in his youth, Sergio Gomez. He's been part of the Espanyol Academy and then spent time in La Masia Academy across the city of Barcelona, and also at Borussia Dortmund too. And he's back on the ball again as he tries to launch another Manchester City attack. There's 1 minute of the match to be played. İlkay Gündoğan. Gündoğan needs some support, finds Alvarez, but he just took his eye off the ball at the crucial moment, Alvarez. And he's given a chance for Brighton to launch a counter-attack. They'll have to do very well to do so from here, but with Mitoma there going forward over the top to Undav, is going to run on to McAllister. In fact, Ferguson out there. Ferguson puts the cross in. Headed out to Caicedo. Now it is McAllister across to Veltman. Veltman combines on the right-hand side with Gross. Short pass infield to Mitoma. Can Brighton fashion one final opportunity? And not like that, because Caicedo has to play the ball back to Van Hecke inside his own half. Colwill. They're going to have to hurry things up, Brighton. And in fact, they have run out of time because the referee puts his whistle to his mouth and blows the full-time whistle, which ends the game at Brighton Hove Albion 1, Manchester City 1. Particularly entertaining first half of this game, in which Phil Foden broke the deadlock for Manchester City after 25 minutes. 30 minutes later, a wonderful, wonderful strike from Julio Enciso, who is bounding onto the pitch right now with a huge smile on his face, gives Caicedo a hug. His strike into the top corner, level things up, and that's how it stayed. Both sides had chances and goals ruled out in the second half, but it's finished at the Amex Brighton 1, Manchester City 1. City's winning run in the Premier League comes to an end. Not that they'll mind one jot. They're already Premier League champions. Brighton have secured a place for good now in the Europa League. Brighton won